Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So today what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and fillet a sheep's head and show you how I go about doing that. Everyone has their opinion on what's the best way, and that's a matter of preference. So I'm going to show you how I do it, and hopefully this helps. Stay tuned. There we go, fish on. Yeah, buddy. Alright, so we're doing this today with about a 17-inch sheep's head, and what we're going to be using is, first off, this fillet knife. This is from Toadfish. It's a collapsible one. It was a gift from my brother, and it's very sharp, and it's a really good knife for this. To take the fillet and remove it from the skin, we'll be using this 9-inch Danco blade, and it is a pretty good blade as far as removing it from the skin. So that's what I'll be using for that. So first thing that I do is to cut along behind this fin here and along the back of the head. So you'll be able to see it gets really hard at some points, and you'll be able to get an idea. What we're going to do is we're going to angle it in towards the head to get underneath and behind these scales, because they're very tough and they'll dull a knife very easily and very quickly. So you want to have a sharp knife when you do this. So you're just going to get cut through there, break through the scales, and get down to the bone. Now, when you do this, especially if you're in the kitchen, make sure that you have the blessing of your wife if you're married. If not, good luck. So anyways, cut through the base at the head here. And a lot of times what I like to do is I like to just turn the knife and from behind here and just start cutting along that back spine. There's different ways that you can go about this, and you can also, there's a pocket that is right inside here. When you pick up this dorsal fin, there's a little pocket that you see the tip of the blade fits right inside of. You can start there if you like, and if that's easier for you. A lot of people prefer that. So what I'll do is I'll just turn the blade here and point it this way. I'm pointing it out this way along this spine. I don't want to go too far in, because then I'll cut into the meat. So you want to just break that outside skin and just go along the dorsal fin. And you want to just point, again, pointing your knife out this way. So you're going along this dorsal fin, and you'll see as we pull this back, there's kind of an edge or a lip there, if you want to say, and you'll see that. But once you get down here to the back end of the dorsal fin, you'll push the knife through across. You'll be able to feel where that center bone is, and you'll push across and through, and that's where you just follow through to the back of the tail. And it's that simple just to get started. So that's a good starting point at that. So what we'll do is I'll turn the fish so it's perpendicular to me, and what I'll do is I'll take the knife now, and we'll be angling it down towards the rib cage, or towards not the rib cage, but towards the bone, because we don't want to get away from it, because we'll lose some good meat that way. So we'll get our knife and angle it, and we'll just pull towards us as we're pushing down and in just slightly. And as you ride, you might be able to hear how it bounces off of those bones. And you're just going to repeat that all the way. You don't want to push all the way through, and I'll show you why. But we're going to do that all the way down until we get here, and then we can turn our knife up when we get to towards the head and pull up, and that'll separate it here at that line that we cut. So as we do this and we kind of ride, we start to see that there's a bump there. And I'll show you that when I get the whole carcass off, but keep in mind that there is like this center spinal cord, if you will, that goes down the middle line of this fish. And I'll show you in greater detail as we get further on. But as we pull up, we'll see that it's separated completely on this top half. And we have a rib cage here. What I like to do is I like to go ahead and turn that knife point down. I'll turn it down into the fish so that I can get around that spinal bone and just slowly peel it away from the fish on that level. And I'll do that again all the way down till it gets to the other side of that fish. And what I'll do is I'll turn my knife, put it here, it says by the stomach, and pop it out the other side, and then just go along the bottom that way. like so. And that'll pull the whole fillet away. So I messed up here a little bit, left some meat. I'm not the best at filleting, but I'm showing you my method. And what I'll do is I'll then turn this towards me. It's a little bit different with the camera here and trying to show you and not get in the way of it. But I'll just go upwards here and follow this rib cage. And that'll separate that meat from the rib cage. Many people choose to cut through that rib cage, but I feel that if I do that, it definitely dulls the knife. It'll damage the knife. Some people rip this fillet off completely and then go to the other side. I find that it's more difficult to remove this other fillet when this is gone. So I'll leave it there until I'm ready to remove it away from the carcass. So we're going to flip it and we're going to repeat that whole process here on this other side. All right, so we have it to where we kind of have this butterfly on both sides, as you can see, and pulled away from the carcass. I'm going to do the stomach part here. And then what I'll do is I'll just put the knife along the rib cage and just follow that rib cage down. And again, you'll feel it. The knife will do all the work for you. You just have to move it back and forth and pull on the fillet. And then you've separated it and pulled it away from the fish at that point. Just flip it over. And you're repeating that same process on this side, just on the other direction. You're following that rib cage and just going through. And trying to eliminate losing any of that fish, any of that meat from that fillet. So here's what I was talking about. When we're coming in and we're going along here, we have this ridge that we kind of get up and over that goes along the dorsal fin here. So when you start it off, you're getting just in that, and then when you're pulling it away, you're actually cutting down at an angle and pulling it away from the bone there. Then you have this section here. You see it here. That spinal cord looking section. You see, you can tell that it bumps up right there. And that's what you're doing when you're getting up and over to cut through with this bottom section. And here's where I left a little bit, but you see that's a dorsal fin, or not the dorsal fin, but this is a pectoral fin. A little ridge there. So you get as much meat off it as you possibly can in a fillet. So with that, I get rid of the carcass at this point. It's fairly clean. Again, like I said, I'm not the best at it, but wanted to show you what my process is. So now what we want to do is we want to remove the fillet from the skin. And again, this is where this 9-inch blade comes in. It's very flexible. So it allows me to remove it fairly easily. So what I'll do is I'll turn it at an angle again. And we're going to start at the base here. And we're going to start back and forth motion and going down and along that skin. Once we get it started, you grab a good firm grip of that skin. And you can move your knife back and forth, or you can pull the skin as you move the knife, and that helps to separate it from the skin. And there you've got a nice clean fillet. You haven't missed any of the meat from the fish, and the skin is gone. So you discard that, and you're left with your fillet. So what I'll do is I'll feel along here. Typically, this process, this method that I'm using, you don't have any bones or any rib cage left on this portion here, but you do feel them as you get further down, especially right here on this small stomach portion. This is where we cut away from the stomach. What I'll do is I'll just go and cut along here, just about another ½ inch or so, and then come in at an angle to remove really along the bloodline, and you'll get that remaining few pieces of rib cage when you do that, and then just cut along to remove it. And then that leaves you with a nice clean fillet. There's this white part here, it's usually hard. I just cut that out. And then that leaves us with a nice looking thick fillet. Now again, this fish was about 17 inches, so it yields a good portion of meat. And then repeat that same process on that other fillet. You grab it back and forth, and it pulls off real quick, real clean. Discard that. Again, you can remove this little portion here, and then feel for any rib cage that was left over. I got a little piece here on the end, so we're going to remove that. And then feeling for the bones, I feel them right here. Cut in here about 1/2 inch. Cut in an angle from the bottom portion, and then just fully remove that. Again, it's along that bloodline, so it's not that much meat that you're forfeiting there. So again, you've got a really nice, beautiful fillet. So you rinse these off, clean them up, and they're ready for the frying pan, the baking oven, whatever it is that you decide to do with them. Whatever style of cooking, you cannot go wrong with sheepshead. So there's my process. So they're ready, like I said, for the frying pan, for the oven if you're baking them. They're ready for the deep fryer, whatever your preference is. It doesn't really matter. No matter what you do with these things, they taste delicious, and they're one of my favorite fish, absolutely, to eat. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, comment below, share the video, and as always, don't forget to subscribe for future content. Thanks for watching, tight lines, and be blessed.